3 years ago. I stayed as the HR head. Now, from last 6 months, I have become this chief operating officer and taking care of the business. So that is how it looks like.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Very nice.
From HR to business, it's a beautiful transition. And I'm grappling with Corona's impact. Suddenly, the minute I became the chief operating on 20th of March, and I got the lockdown. So since then, it is difficult. We are open, we are serving customers because people are still traveling. In the lockdown, definitely it was very less, but now it has improved. Business-wise, yes, it's very challenging right now because you can really sanitize your house, you can sanitize the airline or the hotel where you're staying in.
People are not going to. This is a
Precaution can you take inside the car? That's the whole deal. So that's what we're doing.
Do you have any operations in Calcutta also?
Yes, certainly, Calcutta. So we are available in 30 cities directly and rest of the operations. So we are a pan-India organization. Kolkata, I do not know the specific place because if you're from Kolkata, Shantanu Banerjee, then I would not be able to tell you where's my office. However, yes, we have a base office in Kolkata.
Good.
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake. Oh,
Very near.
we are like, we are in Salt Lake close by.
All right, you both are from Kolkata. Okay.
Yeah, we both are from Kolkata.
Background is from Kolkata.
Huh?
My mother is from Kolkata.
Wow. So you are from our city. So
Yeah, I'm from your side. Let's do it this way.
Sudeep is also rooted from Kolkata only.
Sudeep has been, suddenly off the radar for a couple of, years, I should say. Suddenly he connects with us and he brings some surprise.
Right.
Yeah, so I think, the roots are in Calcutta, but I think I'm in Bangalore from last 23 years.
Yes.
Oh.
So in that case, he's correct. I have been also just born and brought up in Calcutta, but for working, the world has been my, suitcases. One point of time, imagine he used to meet me by saying calendars when you are going to be in Calcutta. We have even taken meetings on Sundays and all. So yes,
Right.
for Rosy Roti, we have to move around, jump from pillar to post. And traveling is
Absolutely.
something which we are missing like anything. Traveling is
Absolutely.
something which keeps you fresh.
So sorry to interrupt. But I think we'll open this session to audience now.
Yes, please.
We'll open the session to audience now, and at sharp 11 o'clock, Sudeep will start the webinar.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Who is going first?
it will be
That's
live.
okay.
It will be live now, but at 11 only we'll start.
Who will be going first?
So of course, I'll give the introduction about the webinar. Then I will, of course, introduce the panelists from my end. And then we will get into what is called the first discussions and all the questions. So the order which we will follow, I think the first one I'll set it out, and then as it kind of comes, we will do that. The first, of course, we'll go to Dr. Siddharth, followed by Deepali. Then we'll go to Mr. Rajendra, and then we'll come to you. And then in the second one or the second thing, we will have it in the other way around, where Mr. Shantanu, you would come first and probably.
I suggest we should start from Deepali. She's
Okay.
We would love to hear from
Very
her.
good, Mr.
Sure.
If the panel allows me to do that, आप मैडम को बोलने दीजिए, हम सुनेंगे.
Sure.
हम उसको बोलते हैं.
Sure.
All right,
Sure.
I'm fine
Let's
with
start.
it. The team is good with it.
Sure. Absolutely. So we are just letting the people who have registered to kind of come in, and we start at 11 o'clock, which is
Okay.
another
मैं
2-3
webinar
minutes.
में करता हूँ. Okay.
How about you, Rajendra? Where are you based?
Shantanu, I'm based out of Pune.
Okay.
I have an automotive background, Shantanu, all along. Working with.
Just quick question to Rajendra. What is your passion? Automotive? What you do in your hobby?
Well, my passion is actually teaching.
Oh, so you should swap, huh? I love automobiles. So I am a Harley rider. I am a Triumph rider. I go on long travels. I
see.
go off-roading. So you come in my place, I'll go to your place.
No, what you do is also my passion. I like even that, long drives.
You even like, but for that only I live. Like I am restoring cars in lockdown. So business has gone for toss. So what I am doing, I'm restoring cars.
Lovely.
I'm restoring a lot of vintage cars now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a speaker, not so much in India, but outside of India.
Very nice.
I mean, the good part is that we have a diversified set of panelists, but
Right.
there is a
Right.
lot of interconnect and interlock between what you guys like, passion, hobby, and of course on the professional aspects.
Thank
So,
you.
Sudeep, later on you can connect us with a small group so that we can continue.
Right.
This,
No, in fact, I did get you guys connected. I think Deepali, credit goes to Deepali. Deepali was the only person who replied and said hi to all.
really? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she did, and she was extremely
Absolutely,
proud.
very sorry, Dipali. We were hard pressed of time. Actually, we couldn't. I saw your message.
That's
Manish,
all
I
right.
agree to it. I didn't. The
It's
best
okay
way
to
is
be
to have
late than to be never.
the best way is to have a local. We have a HRD India chapters. We have 50 chapters, right? In which HROs from top to down across the country are part of it. I will surely share invitation to you. You can join it. Like we have Mumbai chapter, Pune chapter. This company started as a cult. Okay, so we started as doing something for the society, but somehow, in order to do some work for the society, you need money. So we thought we should have a business also, but initially it is always for doing something for the society. We have done small philanthropical work. So all the credit goes to my initial bosses of Team Lease. I don't know whether they are there or not. Mr. Reddy is there, I'm sure.
Yes. He's a managing director, Mr. Ashok Reddy.
Still rocking, huh?
Yeah.
I think we are on time, right, sir?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we could start actually.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should.
Okay. So, hi all. Welcome to yet another episode of Team Lead's webinar. This is a journey which we started close to 5 months back. Of course, the world was gripped with the outrage of pandemic, and we had been moving into the virtual world. And we felt that it's important to have a cluster of people who have their expertise in their respective domains to be brought into a forum, and then we have a lot of people who would like to know that what are the career opportunities, what are the new jobs, how the economy is going to unfold, what would be the road of recovery, and etc. So we did close to around 16 series. So probably this is the 17th series, and the topic we have today is business beyond COVID-19. How do we reimagine people, process, and technology? And it's a pride to have all of you. Just for the interest of the viewers and as a process, we would like to, I would like to introduce all of you into it. So first of all, thanks to all the panelists, and of course to all the people who have registered and who are of course live with us right now. To start with, I think I would like to introduce a panelist, Dipali Dev. Dipali Dev is Chief Operating Officer of Ecos India Mobility and Hospitality Private Limited. Welcome to the show, Dipali.
Thank you so
Has
much.
20 plus years of experience. She has done her English literature honors from Delhi University, Miranda House, of course. Our previous companies have been MTS India, India Cellular Limited, then Akiko, Calinet, and Clara International, NIT, and of course, British School of Language. So it's a diversified experience that she has, I think, hovering from technology to even the learning, as well as now she is with Ecos Mobility. We look forward to hear from you, Dipali, in terms of your overall expertise, and of course, where do you see the mobility aspect in terms of the in this business beyond COVID-19, and subsequently, what kind of opportunities the job seekers in the market would be looking forward to in the kind of stream of things that you have. I take my opportunity to introduce Dr. Siddharth Pandey, a well-known person in the HR fraternity. I think, I mean, a lot of people know him in terms of his expertise that he has done or his experience in companies like Tata Steel and etc. So currently he is CEO of HRD India, a very dynamic person. Overall, 15 years of experience. Of course, he has done his negotiation and strategic management from Yale University certification. He has got several awards and self-assessment also from Harvard University. His previous companies have been EMC Limited. That's very close to my heart because that's where I first got to meet Siddharth. And then followed by that, Tata Steel, which was formerly known as Bhushan Steel Limited, Bengal Srishti Infrastructure Development Limited, Adhunik Group, Simplest Infrastructures Limited, and Electro Steel Castings UK Limited. I picked up some of them. I believe she has probably a little bit more list. So welcome to the show, Dr. Siddharth. And as it happens that the entire fraternity of India would look like to hear from you, your views with respect to business beyond COVID-19 and reimagining people, process, and technology. We have done a diverse panelist, the keeping in mind that we need to have different flavors. So I'm moving to somebody who strongly comes from an auto sector or automobile sector. So I have here Mr. Rajendra Abhange. Mr. Rajendra Abhange is Senior Director and Chief Technology Officer from Gabriel India Limited with close to 8 years of experience. His previous assignment has been with Bosch. He has done his strategic leadership program from Oxford University, State Business School. And welcome to the show, Mr. Rajendra Abhange. We look forward to hear a lot with respect to the auto industry, its revival, business beyond COVID-19, opportunity for the job seekers, our young countrymen. And I think it would be wonderful to hear from you from those aspects as well. Right?
Thank you.
Right. India has been a destination for mining, and I think mining has always been a sector which has done huge element of employment, and it has contributed into development of many other sectors as well. So we have somebody, Mr. Shantanu Banerjee. He is the country head of HazeMac India Private Limited. Welcome to the show, Mr. Shantanu Banerjee. His previous companies have been Belas Endrick Mining Equipment Services Limited, Tractors India Limited, Haglungs Drives India Private Limited, Telco Construction Equipment, and also Ingersoll Rand. Each of them have been strong, powerful, process-driven companies. He has got 27 years of experience. He has done his B mining from Nagpur University. Mr. Shantanu, we would like to hear from you with respect to your views in terms of business beyond COVID-19, and of course that what mining as an industry would look forward to, what we look forward to as in mining and its revival. So,
thank you for inviting.
Sure. So to get started, I think what we are talking about, I think one of the interesting thing which I'll put forth and open up this webinar is, I think with business resuming, putting India back to work will be a challenging one, right? How to infuse confidence in employees and resume business operations, right? What new measures and protocols do you think organizations need to implement to ensure that safetyness from the employee perspective and otherwise a safe work environment? So I would like to first go to Dipali Dev. And Dipali, your views on it. A request when one of us is speaking, I think I would request the others to keep it on mute so that we are able to hear that. Dipali, over to you, your views.
Thank you so much for this opportunity for us to come and speak to everybody. A very warm welcome to this webinar to all the panelists once again from my side, and to all the attendees who have taken out their time to be here with us. I hope this discussion which we are participating stays fruitful and very enriching for all of us. My name is Dipali Dev, and I carry experience of almost 22 years now in various fields, starting from customer service to training on voice and accent in English, to collection in Idea Cellular, to taking care of human resources, learning and development for a giant like Systema, moving to Eco Rent-A-Car, my current passion and my current job where I'm working. This organization, so little about the company, definitely, so that we can connect more, because it is very important to understand the background a little better. This organization, Eco Europe Car, is having a legacy of almost 47 years into car rental industry. We established ourselves as one of the top mobility service provider because we have separate divisions of corporate car rental to ETS to luxury segments to self-drive, cutting across all the segment of society, you name it, and we have a solution of car mobility given to you. From the humble beginning of this organization, currently we are available in more than 100 cities in India. And with our partnership with Europcar, we have given our clients an opportunity to use our services across 3,700 countries, across 130 countries and 3,700 locations. Now, having said this a little about the organization, I really want to tell you that the question which Sudeep has raised to us, COVID, the word itself has somewhere paranoid all of us. To you, to me, to my family, to my children, to your children, to our parents, to everybody. The entire game of life has changed. It has come to us and as an ordeal of devastation at few places. It has paced down the life for all of us, caused a lot of destruction into the society, into the economy, and it is still looming large for its aftermaths on the mankind. And I'm sure all of you would agree to this. However, it is also a very paradoxical quote, which you might have heard, and I really believe in it, that, man is the only creature who refuses to be what he is. So once again, mankind has taken all its strength to come back, to restart, to relook, to reboot, something which you all are participating, called as putting India back to work. So the most optimistic word out of this title for me as an individual is back to work. We were slipping somewhere. We were feeling sad, gloomy, low. But as men refuses to take it, we are again fighting back and coming up. It is a very, very optimistic move that Team Lees has taken to set up this webinar, talking to people, sharing experiences. We all know the negatives. There are some positives also of COVID, which is we have learned to value our freedom. We have learned to respect relationships and become more collaborative. We have innovated so fast that this space, no CTO, no CEO in any organization could ever get, the kind of innovations which you must be seeing around you, the kind of digital experiences we all have, suddenly moved. It has made us learn adaptability, and all this has come because we have shown courage. I follow Sir Ernest Shackleton, and I believe that by endurance we conquer, and by endurance we will conquer. Today we are sitting on 8th of September 2020. This day can anytime be marked. We will just be talking about the best experiences out of COVID after some time. What can an organization do? All of us are professional. Most of us are actually the people who are doing the things in the organization to combat COVID and its issues which we have. The kind of industry which I am right now, we are into ground transportation. We provide you a car which takes you from your house to the location. It can be a vacation, it can be your office work, it can be any other kind of desire. When you want to travel, what have we done? So for the employees are very, very important. And we have also done exactly the same things which most of the organizations are doing, which is about ensuring, the sanitizations are done, the fumigation is done. We are ensuring that the policies are top up, all kind of medical support is available. Nobody in the organization should be left untouched with a medical cover. I'm sure these things you are also doing, because the employee always have these kind of things in mind. Is it hygienically clean? Is the safety there? Is there any ostensible threat which I might have? The protocols, because it is very impetuous travel industry right now. It is very, very important to ensure, first of all, the employees are feeling safe. I believe that there are two aspects to safety, to any kind of protocol. One is rational, one is emotional. When we say rational, it is very important to take care of the givens like medical claim policy, like hygiene, safety, protocols, ensuring that is the travel really needed? Why do I need all my employees to come back? COVID has taught me this also, just work from home. and do the best. So that is something which we are doing for the employees. On the emotional front, which is very, very important at this point in time, and this is the message to all the HR leaders here. I'm sure you are well versed with it, but it is very important to lead by example. If you're asking your employees to come, put a rotation to the leaders of the company also to come to work. Give time to people to adapt to new normal. We are asking people to work from home suddenly. Maybe they will not be comfortable. Maybe the tech is not supporting. Maybe they are not that comfortable within the premises of their house. So, time for people to adapt. Last but not the least, for rational and emotional, for the emotional, empathy is very, very important. It is very important to connect. Out of sight should not become out of mind for us who are the leaders in the organization. We have to constantly connect with our people. The protocols, these are the things which we are doing for employees. However, I have a little more interesting thing to share with you, that in my organization, employees are very less. We have the employees as chauffeurs. They are our partners. They are the drivers who are next door to your house. When you walk down in the lane, any one of you, when you walk down in the lane outside, do you see those small taxi stands? Those drivers are my partners. It is very imperative for us to connect with those drivers, because those drivers are going to give you safety. So as an organization, we have followed all the protocols, how many people should sit inside the car, what kind of fumigation should happen inside the car, what kind of mask should be there, the car should be decluttered. All these protocols, the isolation cabin should be there in the car. There should be no touch between the chauffeur and between the driver. However, we have really, really focused on something which is one word. And you have also focused in your families, and that is behaviors. It is very important to ensure that we are giving the right training on the behaviors. Here, learning and development, which is a facet of HR, comes absolutely in the front play. And it is very important because, these drivers are, what is their education qualification? They are 10th, 12th, at times even lesser than that. They just have a skill of driving. But at this time, I don't need driving. What I need is safety, security, that compassion towards the guest. So we have invested hours and hours and hours, and you will be amazed. India has really changed. All my drivers, a fleet of more than 5,000 drivers, are today exactly on the same platform on which you are, be it Zoom or be it Google Meet. So it was very important. We were really thinking, how can we make a difference in your life? Because even when I sanitize the car, even when I ensure that everything is falling in place, but if the person who's driving the car is not following the protocols, it will become difficult. So for the employees, it is very important to keep the rational and the emotional, both quotients in mind, so that when we are calling our people to work, we are ensuring that their place is clean, sanitized, spick and span. Protocols are, there on the wall for them to read, to reiterate, to give them messages. Communication is never less. So keep communicating to the employees. For the extended arms, which are my chauffeurs, which are drivers who are actually touching base with you, driving you, each one of you, it was very, very important for us to think about how do we ensure that we give you a product which is running on the road, still safe for you. You should feel more confident, because there is nothing more important than health. So these are the protocols, these are these practices which we have tried setting up to begin with, Sudeep.
Sure. Fantastic. I think two key points that I will pick up. I think you said very confidently that mark the date, which is 8th of September. And I think what you wanted to say is that perhaps a year down the line, we will pick up this date to say that what we had been thinking and see how far we have progressed, and we have progressed together, right? So again, in that progression, I think we will talk about the technological aspects. We'll talk about the people process side. And I think the next point which you touched upon is, of course, your partners. So eventually, in order to make that you have safe customers, the usage of technology which is there, which you connect, right? And at the same time, a mix of empathy to that as well. So I think that's phenomenal. I think that speaks loads about the fact that how an organization looks into, of course, their business. At the same time, also ensure that, how and empathy can be translated into action and activities, right? Fantastic. We'll move into Dr. Siddharth, your views on the fact that people process technology post-COVID. I think COVID had its thing. we decided we know that it's probably the pillow with which, or it's like a mobile or a wallet with which we have to kind of move on. Getting back to work, of course, it's a leadership which needs to show it as it happens in every event. It's the leaders who need to show it or who need to lead it from the front. Your views on it.
The word pillow. Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Team Leads, my first employer, to allow me to speak on a panel. It's a real matter of pride for me. HID India, the company which I represent, it is founded by me as well as my father. We have worked from two generations, bringing the total experience of more than 70 years on board. And we have worked for many core industries. Specifically, we represent core industry. However, we have been partners to a lot of industry in transformation in terms of service as well as ITES. Having said that, we really want to bring the right process and systems which are there in the larger conglomerates and MNCs into small as well as mid-size as well as larger companies with our subject experts. We have presence in all major cities along with smaller parts, including the places where people don't go to work, which is Bihar. Uh, we have been working relentlessly over there. We have our CSR projects and other things in place. However, what Deepali said was really nice, that this new normal is something which everybody has to look forward and start working towards it. But exactly, we have to reassess the situation. Every country, every large, small, developing, underdeveloped country has taken a shock with this situation. There are people who have been out of business. There are people who have been out of employment. There are people who have been not been taken care of, and there are people who have been taken care of. So there is a huge reboot that everybody, every large, small conglomerate has reached to a place where we call it a starting line. The country, the humankind is fighting a war of survival, in which, in Bible we call it Armageddon. The fight for extinction. We are going to survive, and surely we will survive. But do we need only lip service for this? My question is, I'm very critical of my statements. Do we need a lip service for it? Make in India, made in India. Shantanu Da is over there. He will clarify my fact. We are picking up straight fight of being resilient India with China. Deleting apps, deleting, boycotting small things will not bring anything on the table. Imagine what is the steel capacity of India in totality. Any country's GDP or economy is decided. When we talk about service industry, it's dependent on the core industry, and ultimately ITATS and everybody is dependent on the core industry. The capacity of total Indian steel production is 70 million tons, out of which we produce 10% plus minus is 67, 65 million. I'm talking about every small big organization which you have think of working together, steel producing. And what is the capacity of China is 700 million tons. Okay, so we are going to pick up a fight with a giant which is 10 times above us. This app deletion, this all deletion. So this is a real hard fact. Yes, we have to be a self-reliant. We have to be a country which has to have everything integrated. And we have, ultimately, the HR has to relook into it. And whenever there is a, HO or HQ from any country or US or UK or wherever it comes from, please issue this pink slips and all those things. Do you think we should not apply our minds into it? I have handled 1 lakh plus people across many countries. We have to respect the local law. Very critical, but it is a fact. Imagine you all have taken, the madam said, I pick up examples while people speaking around, and I like to pick up examples. We all have this app-based taxis where we try to use it for our convenience, which are nice. Imagine, I'm sure you all have an experience. You take a yellow cab, a local cab, where he asks little more money. You must have always seen a fist fighting happening across the street. Why you have asked more money from me? Why you have asked, this is not a meter charge, this is not a that charge, this is not XYZ. There is a discussion over this because, that is a peak time. But on the name of surcharge, on the name of a peak time, on name of something, if this app-based industry slaps abnormal charges on you, I don't want to name I'm sure you all are experienced, you have seen this. The same route, the same thing, the charge is 3 times, 4 times. Similar, this app-based food industry. So there is what we are looking forward is there has to be a policy, there has to be a guideline of actually promoting the local business. The idea is this: we have to talk what exactly we walk. We have to give them a training. This small time, short time, MSME, SME, small industry. Even one taxi wala is an industrialist in my. He has to be connected with the mainstream line. Number two, number three, the most important thing. This every HR leader which is a part of new industry is going through an acid test. The best thing you see, third example which share with you, there was a huge hue and cry that migrant labor was been asked to move from one place to another in this COVID time. And this only migrant players who have been, people who are asked to come back for the job in matter of no time. So it is a clear cut failure of the small HR or other philosophy of these organizations where they didn't took care of these people. Ultimately, business depends on people capability. How much automation you do, how big automation you do, you have to take care of your people. And the HR leaders have to really talk the walk. They have to think what they have to actually, this is the right time. A few years back, people were talking
Sure.
about the HR role will be there or not. Because, the biggest problem that HR is facing today, it's missing this human face. It cannot be a spokesperson from the management side. It cannot be a spokesperson from the employee side. It cannot play like a trade union leader. It cannot be playing as a person who is only talking about the management angle. It has to play its first and the primemost role of being a bridge between employee and employer. And they have to, if they become they because they are custodian of human capital. you
Absolutely.
you
So,
cannot
so
you
that I
want
think in the paucity of the time, we'll move. It's a great points that you kind of bought
sure,
into.
sure,
We'll
sure.
move to Mr. Rajendra. Mr. Rajendra, I think quickly two, three important points with respect to the fact that, we're talking about business beyond COVID-19 in terms of reimagining people, process, and technologies. So in this quest of kind of reimagination, where do you see the three things kind of connecting together, the three dots getting connected together?
Yeah, so because of the paucity of time, I just made my point very quick. First of all, the company that I work with is Gabriel India, is Anand Group company. And we are India's #1 shock absorber manufacturing company. Are you able to hear? Oh,
There is a kind of echo in your
Sandeep, can you
voice.
hear me?
Yeah, there's a kind of echo in your voice. Now it's better.
Okay, just a moment.
It's better now. Continue. It's better now.
Yeah, yeah. So we are India's #1 suspension shock absorber company, and we have been figuring out in Economic Times review as a great place to work for years together. Not just 1 year, not just 2 years. For several years, we have been a great place to work in India, and there are very few automotive companies. We rub shoulders with Microsoft, Google's, and JW Marriott's in this event. And there are only 1 or 2 companies who figure out from the auto background, and we are one of them. We have women employment as our priority. Automotive industry has very less employment for the women, but we have challenged that to fundamental, and we have been employing women on the shop floor. We have some of our plants where we have 40%, 50% women employees working on the machines. This is one of the hallmark of our company. And most important, that we do not follow the model of a unionized workforce. All our employees are like you and me. There are no unions in our company, and there are no people we have red flags out of the company. Everybody is engineer who works in our company, also on the shop floor, and we call it as the operating engineers. So we hire from the young graduates or the young diploma holders, recruit them, train them, and they come in, they work, they deliver, and they grow out and they leave. So even after 55 years of our company's existence, our average age of the company is just 26 years. That's because we have this very unique model of working, and it's something which is patentable, almost a successful model since the last 2 decades. So having said that, post-COVID, we all have, many of you have talked about it. I think Deepali spoke about a very fine point. For example, she said, out of sight should not become out of mind. It's absolutely true. And because we are in such a terrible times, and never ever we had imagined, remember, thinking about it. We never ever thought about this kind of a situation will come. And Siddharth spoke about the minusculeness of our country. And I also completely echo with him. China, 700 million tons, and we are just 70. And I would like to give a corollary to car industry. We just are just 3 million units. China is 24 million units. I mean, no comparison, absolutely. So we have a long way to go. Coming very specific to the COVID topic, that when we began our operations, because we have the hostels and we have all this management for these young kids, they live in the hostel which we provide them. So we had to make lots of effort to see that they are not getting infected. They're living in one community type of thing, and they're far away. People are coming from Orissa, people are coming from Tamil Nadu, people are coming from Himachal. They all live together as one family. And God forbid, and if something goes wrong with 30-40% women employees staying in the hostels and all, it was a huge responsibility on we as a company, because to take care of these kinds of people was also our responsibility, not like other companies that you have your homes. So 80% of the employees live in hostels. So taking care of the hostels, giving them food in these COVID times, and we were reviewing every day online what is happening, what is the Arogya Setu status of each one of them, are there any abnormalities, and are there anybody falling sick, is the temperature monitoring happening. It was like, the care was taken as if everyone was in ICU. So those 6 to 8 weeks were absolutely for us. We were on the live wire. A hanging sword was on us. And as we started the operations, the things got eased out. The movement started, and now we are getting to work, which is getting used to the kind of new normal. And I think everybody is happy that our work has started full swing. Our full produced probably we delivered August 19th. Volumes, and previously the order is also by God's grace is also doing. So that's been this starting thing from my side. Little bit, Sudhir. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Fantastic. I think you spoke about, the orders, you spoke about the revival in the real sense. So I would like to go across to Shantanu. Shantanu, quickly, I think, now that the impact and the outrage has its impact already in, right? Where do you see business improving? Where do you see the business, which is very important? And of course, employment is related with it. So in the mining industry, how do you see the revival?
Yeah, actually, this is a very typical situation, and the COVID-19, irrespective of our age, we none of us have actually experienced anything like this prior to uh, this kind of a situation. But nevertheless, we are reopening pretty fast, which is a very good thing, and we need to keep a couple of things in mind, that the safety protocols which are there from the authorities and the experts needs to be followed for our own as well as for our existing workers, where we do not create an issue by the reopening. That is my first submission. And as such, entire this COVID period, the mining fraternity was always open, because it comes under the essential services. So it went on, and yeah, initially we did not see any issue, because the spread of infection was quite less. But nowadays, we are facing the problem of stray cases here and there. But yeah, uh, using mask and daily temperature monitoring, or the possible social distancing, uh, these are the things which are paramount importance today, and these needs to be maintained in the industry to go further. And with this, I can say that there is no dearth of people actually coming back to work. People are willing to come back to work and do their best. Only thing is that what an organization can give them a kind of a feeling of safety is very important. So, in my opinion, we should have the coverages, the insurance coverages enhanced for people and give them the comfort level and the feel that we are with them. And at the same time, we should also think of giving some kind of a special training where the migrant workers are coming. Special training in the sense that the concept of train the trainer. So you need not to invite the entire chunk of people for your work, but you can have local working people and one or two experts to teach them. So this is how we can decentralize the whole thing, like the today's problem of migrant labor, who are some of them are willing to go, some of them are not willing to go. So this can probably create a situation where they get the feel that they are important and they are being taken care of. Having said that, we should also try and engage with the families, not only the workers or not only the employees. We should look at, the HR should look at the possibility of engaging the families and probably start something new to give them a kind of some kind of skill set training to the housewife, maybe to the kids, who can be self-sufficient in the days to come. So this kind of initiative will also engage the employee and the employee will feel at home. So that is another part where I see a huge potential is available. Similarly, with the kind of situation today, I think company HR should look into more on the soft skills rather than hard skills. And those who were in general, like some kind of clerical, they should uplift them by giving some kind of training so that they are master of something, at least in one direction. They know that job in a proper way and develop a lot of soft skill on them so that they become more effective and more powerful for the organization.
Great. So I think one of the important factors is, and I think we would like to focus on that beyond, right? I think the title itself is Beyond COVID-19. So I bring upon the next important point, and I think I'd like to start with Rajendra. Future of work, right? So, I mean, as I talk to you, there are close to around 80 odd people, participants who are there live with us. How would future of work be, right? I mean, from the aspect of your industry, your company, what do you foresee as future of work? And of course, your insights also on the fact that today's job seekers, what they should look into, right? So future of work and what job seekers should look into. Rajendra, your views next. You're on mute.
Sudeep, can you repeat your last sentence?
Yeah, future of work and what the job seekers should look into. What organizations would look for, what kind of a talent to hire, keeping in mind that we are in the road of recovery and of course would look forward to jumpstart, right? So what should the job seekers be thinking of?
Again, because of the paucity of time, I will be to the point and very specific to this question.
Right.
First and foremost, we all have to understand that this is not the first time we are seeing, the reasons are different. Each time the reasons of economic meltdown or economic downturn are different. Okay. The only point what is different at this point is that at this point of time is there is a factor of fear of life, or even the extinction of humanity. Those kinds of things. For example, the lots of the paleontologists are saying that Earth is in the midst of the sixth extinction. From the time it formed 400 millions ago, today this period is a period of sixth extinction. And the sixth extinction will not happen because of the natural disaster which all the time happened in the past, either volcanoes or some kinds of the external things coming out on the earth, meteors or those kinds of things, and the whole earth got destroyed. This sixth extinction is because of the human-made problems. And what we are seeing, the current situation is not a natural thing. It's a human-made. Most of us believe this, that what we are going through is not a natural attack on the earth, but it's a human-made attack. Having said that, coming to the future of work. So first of all, this is not the earth has witnessed for the first time. So we have seen world wars, we have seen so many things. We have seen Great Depression. 1999 was the first one I in my own career. Was a huge meltdown. When you see, they were like a hockey stick. It goes down, but it suddenly goes up. So for that matter, 1998, the Lehman Brothers case study, overnight everything happened. 64 trillion economy went down to 63 trillion. Within a year, it went to 66 trillion. So today's 83 trillion, I believe it will go down somewhere around 81 trillion this year, but it will again get back to normal. So those industries, those companies, those organizations who have ability to withstand in these tough times, they will see through the hockey stick upward trend for sure. Those who do not have the vision for the future, those companies are going to get wiped out. For example, sacking the people, one of the worst things that some companies have done in this period.
Okay.
You cannot stay for long.
Sure. Okay, so I think you're talking about the fact that there is going to be a revival. Of course, we know, but we want to very specifically understand from you that future of work, what kind of work would be there? What kind of profiles? If you can quickly share some insights on that.
Right. So coming to the future of work, one thing that's definitely going to happen, all the waste in the system, we have multi-layered organization that's going to get flatter. One thing is for sure. People have understood in this pandemic or this COVID lockdown that lots of things can be done without doing many things, without employing unnecessary people, without employing and having unnecessary kind of the bureaucratic systems in the organization. So all this all will vanish. Look at the IT companies, they're talking about work from home being the new normal. Okay. And what will they do with such huge buildings and other things? So work from home kind of thing, or situations like flatter organizations, more efficient organizations going to be the way forward. Towel, a wet towel is never dry. The more you squeeze, the more you get. And we have experienced it post-COVID. We have done so many cost reduction measures and it is still not over. We thought it is over. Every time we think it's over, but it's not over. So way forward is that organizations will get leaner, they will get more efficient, and the job seekers will have to have new skill sets. How to work from home, how to represent yourself well, how to impress the person in front of you, how to convince, how to sell your products virtually, not without having a touch and feel. Those are the kinds of skill set we all have to acquire.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think virtual skills which enable you in order to present yourself virtually, and adaptability of that particular thing, what we have always seen face to face to the virtual thing. Fantastic. Dipali, your views specific to your industry, where do you see future of work, right? And in terms of people process technology, of course, it's a new age industry. Where do you see more employment happening in your industry? Your views on that?
Right. So for mobility specifically, my views are that cost will remain as the king for coming another decade, because it is going to take time to bounce back on the economy. And uh, Rajendra has very clearly said, and it is so apt also, people will look forward for leaner, much thinner organizations. All those bureaucratic systems which were existing will not be existing anymore. Uh, we should be hiring, if I talk about this industry, we will be requiring people at two levels. Definitely people who are driving for us, our chauffeurs, we really cannot make them leaner. One chauffeur will drive one car at one point in time. However, more adaptability for them also will be needed. It is very, very important that whosoever, so two layers of recruitment, I guess, would exist. One is the key SME, subject matter experts. Those can be the technical experts in any industry, or those can be the chauffeur, for example, for my industry. That is a recruitment which will exist. For the rest of the setup of the organization, it will be much leaner. We have already transformed into a much leaner environment, because cost will remain as the king. For the benefit of and for the survival of the organization, it is very important to keep the cost at the core. The key skills which I will look forward, other than the SME roles, will be definitely thorough leadership. We will be looking forward for people who should have leadership and entrepreneurial spirit at every level. Even if somebody is an executive, it is very important that we hire people with a mindset who can take ownership and not only stay focused to one kind of, that's my job kind of a routine. Adaptability, flexibility is something which is going to be for all of us, be it work from home or be it working across the hours, to ensure data bandwidth, because these are the crises which we are going to face very soon at very large. The next skill which will definitely be required will be tech savviness. It is very important now people to move and find that method in, and that is about tech. Creativity, innovation will follow, and data literacy is something which all of us will have to somewhere focus on. So I'm just touching and letting you know the key skills, which I think these are the few cognitive skills which are like digital skills, and the skills which are needed at this point in time will all hover around the adaptability, flexibility of non-SME roles, keeping the leadership and entrepreneurial spirit in mind. It is very, very important for the talent acquisition leads, the HR heads, to keep in mind that we will not work the way we were working before. I am just not talking about work from home, because we have experienced it worked. It worked for India. It works for societies wherein there are 5 people staying inside a flat. Still, I have recently met a lot of people who are working for call centers right now and serving. They have ensured that what kind of environment do they need to create within their house so that their calls are soundless. There is no background noise. So it is that constant innovation which will exist. Industry wise, of course, it will differ, but SME roles will exist definitely. And at the same time, for the rest of the organization, where we used to have 5-6 layers, one manager and the supervisor and the HOD and the department head, I guess all that will vanish, and we will definitely into a much more leaner structure, but a much more efficient structure. So efficiency is paramount.
So I think what you are focused on, key points, structure, efficiency, entrepreneurial thought process. These are the 3 important things which we say as a takeaway from what you said with respect to future of work. Okay, moving to mining industry, Shantanu, what do you see as future of work? So if you have probably a large set of job seekers to address and who wish to be part of a mining industry in the coming days, what do you would like to tell them? How would the future of work be specific to mining industry or the adjacent industries with respect to that? Your views?
Look, it's a very difficult time to talk about enhancing your manpower strength. I think the challenge today for the management team is to formulate a way forward where we utilize our resources to the fullest and the maximum To do this, we need to, revisit our established practices and see how differently we can do the same job without affecting the output. For example, I mean, we all know that work from home, video chatting, or regular meetings on voice or video platforms, these were so uncommon earlier. But now, in the last 6 months, we have become habituated, and things are producing results. Similarly, we have started doing service calls on videos. Like we are asking the owner or the site person to show the difficulty on the video, and the guidelines are given and the rectification taking place. Similarly, we are also looking into technology front, where we can put CCTV cameras or remote data monitoring for 24/7 monitoring of the machine's performance. So these are the initiatives which are going good, and people are accepting that yes, travel or a drop of a hat is not possible. So what do we do? I mean, we need to have the solution. And then virtual employee connect is a good initiative. We should look into that from that perspective, and engage the families, which I mentioned earlier. So this is the mining industry as such. When we are trying to curtail down our travel, and possibly deal on a voice call or on a video call, and see that things are rectified. So immediately we don't see any surge in manpower, as your question was that how we are going to address. But in case we need, then we will look for very specific competence level of people on a particular job, and that could be anything. That could be electronics background, or a mechanical background, or a IT background. So, but very specific. So that is how we are looking at it.
Sure. So coming to you, Siddharth, future of work, very specifically, what do you envisage? Of course, it's all about that fact that what you are seeing today, organizations coming from different industry have their own road to revival, road to recovery. What do you see? What do you envisage? What do you like to share in terms of future of work, keeping in mind the employer and the employee perspective?
Right. See, economics decides one thing very clearly. Your expense is my income, and my income is somebody else's expense, and my expense will be somebody else's income. On this philosophy, as all the speaker have spoken it before, it is very easy for me to pick it up. Uh, the best part is, for sure, the economy has gone through such cycles before. There has been much depression. We were already into a depression, inflation, as well as we have gone further into depression. And there is no rock bottom. We don't know how far this distance is going to continue. But what is for very sure, as we are consulting into a lot of groups, and what trend we are seeing, or what things which we are understanding, that there are certain sectors which are taken a heavy beating, like hotel industry, travel industry, and all those things. But there are certain industry which for sure the revival path is already initiated. For example, OEM segment, people who can afford their own small. Initially, what used to happen, people never used to buy more 2 3 cars for themselves in a home, because they used to use public transport. They were very reliable and good public transports coming up in the infrastructure. So people who are going to afford their own small car, big cars, and all those things, they are going to buy these cars, and they are buying these cars. And so there will be a growth. For that, we need roads, we need infrastructure, we need fossil fuel. So these are the positive signs. There are a lot of negative things happening in the bloodshed, but there are a lot of positive things happening also. Second, just to give you an indicator, the second pre-owned car segment has grown up suddenly very high, because what has happened, these cars are ready to be purchased, and they are on a lesser cost. So people are taking it as a safer method. However, there are a lot of precaution being used by these companies which provide safe travel, but somehow human psychology of fear, psychosis, that if it is my car, it's like my private environment, private climate. I would be able to be more safer. These things are becoming more prevalent. So, and when there are more cars, more traffic, then surely the infrastructure things are infrastructure, roads, bridges, flyovers needs to be improved. And when these are things needs to be improved, steel sector, core sector needs to improve. So ultimately, people are started spending. What was happening wrong in last 3 months? People were sitting on their disposable income. Everybody was shocked, but it is not. See, we have revived my assessment is this is going to pass by. We have seen worst in past. We are going to come out of this. For sure, this type of epidemic has never been seen in my lifetime, in my father's lifetime, and nobody else. But we have other things which we have seen, the wars we have seen. So yes, these are my take on this situation. I hope
Sure.
rest of the panel can evaluate.
Sure. Dipali, coming to you, digitization. We are talking about revival. We are talking about reimagining people, process, and technology. So when I pick up the word technology, I think digitization comes to my mind, and I think there has to be a lot of technical investments which organizations are looking forward to. They must have planned, some are executing, some are yet thinking deep into it. Digitization and technological investments. These are two very important points. I think some of our friends who are there who have logged into the call as well and are live watching us also have these thoughts or rather the questions in the mind with respect to digitization and technological investments. What do you have to add to that?
Certainly, cost will remain as the king, as I've already said. However, when we get into the digital mode, we make an investment initially, and then it definitely pays back many folds. So I'll give you an example. A car which is running, we have all witnessed Uber and Ola, but that is only for the B2C. For a more reliable, for a more quality, for a more dedicated kind of a service, you require a chauffeur to be coming and picking you up. We had never imagined, as I have already given one small example, which is about bringing everybody, the chauffeurs, the drivers, on the apps. This is a small example. Moving to the next one, and this is just another thing which I want to add, that it will save on to the cost in long term. So how will it work? The app usage, the OTPs. So for example, we have moved in our organization, we have moved from all those paper and pen duty slips, which a driver will give it to the guest and the guest will sign. And what was happening? A paper was getting used. A lot of courier charges were coming into. We made an investment, and it was also definitely a threat because a paper can carry the coronavirus. We wanted to give more safety to the guest. We initiated simple OTP, which goes inside the guest mobile numbers, just like your bank OTP. So yes, it has taken some amount of investment initially, but imagine in long term, it is a set process now. This is just one example which I have tried giving. Automations, innovation, digitalization, all this definitely has a cost to it. But when it runs over a period of time, it not only brings the larger cost down, but it also enhances the user experience. It also enhances the manpower cost. It reduces it. So we all have foreseen it in our organizations, in our careers, in our professional environments. This is something which is the call, which is going to happen. Internet of Thing came some 20 years ago. We never started witnessing it. Today we witness it. The kind of network which I have on LinkedIn, I means we all, the kind of networks, the kind of friends. I was maybe born with 2 friends initially, but today I have some 800 friends. All are virtual, but friends are friends. So of course, it is going to take some time. It is all of a mindset change. People, the entrepreneurs, the owners, the managing directors of the organization, the CTOs will have to put in more and more and more thought process to this, that this initial investment, whichever league it will be done at, whichever level it will be done at, it is going to give us many
Sure.
results. And organizations which will not do it will get, backlash for this in coming time. So it is very important to move with the VUCA world. It is very important to move very fast with it. That is it, Sudeep. I hope I'm
great. Absolutely. I think you picked up the right points. I think specifically, I think the digitization, you spoke about the OTP. I think, it's a thought around things. And of course, yes, there is an investment, I think, but in order to see scale, it's an initial investment in order to see scale, right? Great. So coming to the auto sector, Rajendra, this question is for you. I think digitization, we are talking about specific to auto industry, which is called as the smart industry 4.0, right? Smart industry, smart factory 4.0 and all. Uh, Having said that, a lot of people would like to know as a job seeker that how do I make me ready for a smart factory 4.0? What kind of opportunities would be there in that kind of environment? So can you share some thoughts on that? You're on mute, sir. Yeah.
Sure. Auto industry is actually a high-tech industry in terms of managing complexities, managing material, managing supply chain, different tiers. It's a huge industry worldwide. I would say over 500, 500 billion, $600 billion industry, and one of the largest employer. Industry 4.0 is a new buzzword. We are in the fourth revolution of the industry. That's why it's 4.0. First being the looms that started way back in Manchester in 1886 and all, and followed by mass production, and then CNC, computerized numerically controlled machine, and now we are into 4.0, which is called as basically the cyber physical systems. Now, way forward for our industry, this is the future. The future lies here. Okay. Whether you're a small company, I was just delivering a speech with Godrej just last week, exactly on the same topic. And many people ask the question, how can the big companies can adopt, but how can the small companies adopt to Industry 4.0 and digitalization? Actually, the small companies are better candidates to adopt Industry 4.0 because they need less investment and they can form a cooperative of certain things like a central server or a cloud service. They can hire as one group of companies, and then it is very cheap, actually speaking. And some of the projects that we have executed with our sub-suppliers, the paybacks are less than 2 years. And as I think somebody has just said, the quality of experience that you get out of it is phenomenal. There is no human intervention. You see, wherever there is a human intervention, there is a mess at the end of the day. Because humans don't think the same. Machines think the same. Robots think the same. We had some of our lines running automatically even during lockdown period. There were, because it was just one person needed to feed the material.
Sure.
And we could still complete some orders even during and they have got in some factories more robots than people. So for our kind of industry, which is a very forward-looking and very, the expectations of the consumers are going up every day, and nobody tolerates even a small inferior thing in an automobile. Believe me, if you're having a car and you buy it today and after 2 days you start hearing some noise, you will just go and give the keys to the dealer to tell him, you please take your car back. That's the level of intolerance the people have reached. And with these human ways of using nuts and bolts and spanners gone on the days, we have to embrace technology, digitalization. Personally, I have been on the panel of CII for digitalization, and I would have spoken about this topic in last 12 weeks. Every alternate day, I am a speaker. Every alternate day, just believe me, and the topic is digitalization and Industry 4.0. So that's the way forward, whether somebody likes or doesn't like, but this is going to be the way forward.
Absolutely. I think some of the points that you picked up in terms of digitization in the auto sector, and I think the insights that you brought in terms of the fact that it's an investment, I think, but it's a 2-year time where you start getting the returns, right? I think, that large-heartedness, of course, and along with that, I think the ability to see through the period of time and of course, strategic investment is extremely important, right? Siddharth, coming to you, organizations are looking for flexibility in terms of manpower, fluidity in terms of manpower, and you representing HRD India, I think nobody else would be able to address that better than you. Do you foresee that more and more organizations would be looking for temp labor, short-term temp labor and long-term temp labor kind of a thing?
Yeah, there is. See, what I'll take the cue from my previous post speaker as well as what I have learned in my first employer. It is a time where you name it temp labor or combination of digitization as well as people with a limited period of working and with more benefits. I'm sharing a one small example to you, which will be clarifying everything. We are having all this online app-based merchandising companies, you name it, big five, small, big, large, which are operating. And the largest hubs of these warehouses are, in place called Haryana and Manesar, these sites. And all these warehouses are very close proximity. And there are certain period of time where these organization needs very large number of people for scanning these materials, through labeling and scanners and all. We and the problem with this them was that they cannot have us, these people are not required for round the clock 365 days or 3-4 years. It was for 6 months, 7 months, such assignments. We have employed 1,500 people on those areas, right? And this has been a fantastic small experience which I am sharing. The most satisfaction which brings to my heart is that in this era where people are losing job, we have become a reason for people to get little job. 1,500 is not a major number, but these 1,500 people who have lost their job, and these people are which people? They are people who are very correctly mentioned 10, 12, or undergrad, who were initially working for some security company or otherwise companies, who have been using their small skills of reading the label and scanning it. That's it. That's it. So there has to be thinking out of the box. There are solutions which are readily available close to your, we have to really take out our degrees from our, we are not supposed to always make things very complex. Modern management says makes things easy, as much easy so the last leg of your workforce can understand it. Yes, this is a combination of digitization as well as this is a address to a situation where people are thinking that this is a misnomer, that if you do a digitization or automation, you are becoming a reason for unemployment. That's not. India is 130 crore big country, and there are going to be opportunities. So bringing this, and I am using this combination, and there are huge requirement. We are not been able to meet the requirement. We have been growing multiple folds, but because of what? Because of a combination of addressing the situation. See, the ultimate thing, as the beautiful part is HR people are making to the boardrooms, or they are trying to, or they are driving the businesses, and they are seeing the beautiful part of this concept is HR is something which understands very well where is a pulse. If you delay a salary of your employee by even a day, he or she will have a problem. It is known to everybody. And there are many organizations in the country who have delayed the salary. But when HR is driving these type of roles, they will address it with a human heart. So this is my take on
Sure.
your question.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think very specific example that you spoke about. And I think very clearly you told about the fact that it's a myth to say that digitization will lead to less of jobs or loss of jobs. It's rather the other way around. With the kind of a population that we have, it's going to create different kind of new jobs and more jobs, right? So this is a question which I'm coming back to you, Mr. Banerjee. I think it is often in the job seeker segment or probably even the employee segment, it is often said that they say, or it's something which vibrates in their fraternity with the fact that, yes, it is important to be tech savvy, and organizations say that we need to be tech savvy and etc. But what kind of a training mechanisms, at what frequency are developed and adopted? So specific to mining industry, when it comes to tech savviness, what the kind of investments that has been made on employees in order to be take them to a better tech savvy person?
Yeah, on the tech point of view, I think mining is not that very dominant, but I will address a similar situation for mining industry, which is basically, see, we don't know today how long this situation is going to continue, or any similar situation will come in future or not. Hence, basically from the business point of view, we need to look at possibilities to maximize the resources, which I initially mentioned, and look for small revenue generators and increase volumes. So that is what in the mining industry, majority of the companies are trying to do. Apart from routine businesses, we are also looking at few backward or a forward integration with the value services, probably in conjunction with our core business. All of us have a structure in place that we do have for years together, and I believe small and some meaningful deviations can give us suitability and sustainability in this kind of a situation. I can also say that the cash flow is of a paramount importance today for any company, and time to go. We need to look at our collections, receivables as far as possible, and we should be extremely vigilant about compliances with respect to not to part with any kind of penalties or fines for any reason which could be avoided. I mean, tax authorities or something, we should not get into any kind of penalties. Similarly, I think there is a situation where conscious business decisions need to be taken by the management, where to do business, where my 100% money is secured, where I can get the retention amount back. Otherwise, if we take bad business calls, we can get into a negative balance sheet. So these are the basic things which we are doing in the mining industry, not very specific to the tech, but yeah, these are effective, and we are getting results out of these things. Back to you.
Fantastic. I think we are having a fantastic discussion. So we are left with close to around 20 minutes time. We have covered some of the questions. We have an interesting thing that we do in this webinar. We call it rapid fire, right? So I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and it has to, I'll name each one of you, and I'm going to put those questions. Each one, and it's a very short answer, right? And it could be a word or could be just 2-3 words kind of thing and all. So I'm going to put forth to all of you people. But before that, something which has come up from, I think, the participants, they have put a question to that. Across the country, there has been discussions which are happening with respect to getting back to work, or putting, as we say, putting India back to work and otherwise. And Dipali, you touched upon this point as well. Work from home has also been a scenario where it has improved productivity, right? So how would the switch be now? Because it was never believed that it can give us dividends, but there was no way. So it happened. Now, of course, employers are looking forward to leaders coming to office to kind of reinstill the confidence in them to get back to work, kind of a thing. Not all industry or companies are able to quickly do a switch over, right? So will it be that a difference between those organizations who can switch back to work from home and can get back to office will be more agile, will be called as agile companies, rather than those companies who take time to move from one option to another? Your views in that, Dipali?
Being agile and being nimble is really not about coming back to office only. It completely, now, since we have tasted work from home, we have never believed that work from home can work in India, specifically if I talk about India. But it has worked tremendously, and it is working. It has its challenges, it has its negatives as well. However, being agile is adapting to something. Being agile and nimble would actually showcase when the organization is able to deliver on the given parameters with utmost quality, irrespective whether it is work from home or whether it is work from the office. Of course, there are few things which cannot happen from home. A better quality job can only be delivered for those kind of roles from your workplace. So in that kind of a scenario where you need more camaraderie, where you need more assimilation of thoughts, you might need to come back to office. Yes, leaders certainly, and I firmly believe this, in all the aspects, leaders have to lead by example. they should definitely come in front and start putting themselves on roster and start coming to office to demonstrate that it is not just an instruction which they are there to give, but at the same time, as and when needed, they should be definitely on the ground with their people. So leadership will play a very, very vital role. However, organizations will still stay agile or nimble even when they are wanting to work from any planet, you know. It is the end result and a quality job that needs to be delivered.
Absolutely. Rajendra, your views. I mean, you
Yeah.
agree to what Deepali said, and that's how it's going to be.
Well, my answer would be a bit different to this, considering the industry we are into. You see, we are into the industry of moving the objects, assembling, then dismantling, packing. It's a physical work. And no matter what you do, we still need people to do these jobs. Okay. So for them, work from home is irrelevant. It is not possible that they sit at home and still somebody is making cars and somebody is dispatching the cars, or somebody is making components for making the motorcycles. That's not possible. So we call it as a, in the HR terminology, I think everybody knows it's a blue collar workforce. We have a large chunk of blue collar workforce, which is roughly 75-80% of our total workforce. That work from home is not possible. Even in current situation, we have tough times with our suppliers who are not able to get the people on work. All this migration has happened, have gone back, and they're not willing to come so soon. We have terrible times. We are not able to meet our demands because physical work is not happening. So in our industry, this work from home doesn't work for a category of people. Okay, this is number one. As far as the other part is concerned, some people can, we have already tested that work from home is a doable task, but I think our DNA, the humans, they all want to come together. We are all people who want to come together, celebrate together, see each other, hug each other, shake hand each other's. This habit of humans is not going to change overnight. We are not machines that if I don't meet Sudeep and shake hand Sudeep for 5 years, we continue to be great friends. I don't think it's going to happen. In order to maintain that connect, and I think Deepali also talked about the connect.
But isn't it the new adaptation that the world is looking forward to? I don't meet you, I don't shake your hands, but I can be with you in the social platform and virtual world and still be great friends.
No, Sudeep, I think fundamentally man is a social animal.
Okay.
We cannot forget it, right?
Very correct.
And if you are asked to stay inside your house for next 25 years, you get everything that you want at your fingertips. Eiffel Tower is coming to your bedroom, and your living room will see Niagara Falls, and don't visit that. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, so going back to work is a natural instinct, no matter what industry you are into. We have demonstrated against the COVID that we can tackle the problem. We have a countermeasure to the problem, but that is not our natural normal. Our natural normal is go down from your societies, walk in the garden, have chit chat, sit on the bench, have a cup of coffee together, go to in Pune, we eat a lot of vada pavs here and there, I think, and in Delhi, we eat samosas. So go to that lukkad and eat. That's our natural normal. If you say, no, that's not necessary, then it's a much bigger problem, I think, for all of us.
Sure.
To you, Sudeep.
Sure. Okay, so I think I'll start the quick rapid fire that I said. The first question would be to you.
Sudeep, I want to add one thing.
Sure. Please.
Because Rajendra spoke my, absolute heart thing. Till now, I was not saying, I was only speaking to the script. Rajendra said one thing: the only place where certainty is, where everything, you have a shelter, you have a roof on the head, you have security, you have food, is in jail. You know, life is full of uncertainty, and human being always likes to play with uncertainty. What he has said is very pertinent. I really liked, and I was very impressed to hear him when he was saying these things. That it is not only with the OEM sector. In fact, it is Santanu as well as I. It is a fact that lot of sectors which are from a core industry, which represents, please try to understand, the world is represented by the core industry. GDP is built over that. It's not that, other industry don't contribute into it, but ultimately it revolves around it, right? That's a simple maths. So anywhere, these 70-80%, what he called as blue collar people, I call them our fellow employees, I call them our fellow partners. That's a recent HR jargon. They are required to come to workplace. You cannot make a steel bar without sending a person into coals, CSP, or into a steel factory, or you cannot make him work if you're not sending him in front of arc furnace and those, they have been working in unforbidden environment for a very, very long time. A lot of people have just been hearing lip services. Secondly, the most important point, which I'll make it very quick, this work from home, what is this concept? Are you not intrusion into the privacy of an individual? Are you not trying to come into my private life every day? Are we prepared for it? Is the ID Act not speaking about it? My family, my wife, my sister, my kids, they don't have their own space. The only place which was we used to. So we are either preaching work-life balance or actually we are promoting it. Just saving on this is a real litmus test. People who have been tested for it, this has been a real litmus test. You are coming in my home, my boss is speaking to me, I am having a rough day, and I may not be having a big house, my family must be hearing it from the next room that I'm getting a good wank on me. Is it right? EQ, OQ, IQ, whatever it is, but there is a Q, which is a question. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I think we have close to around 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes time. So we'll wrap up on that. Next 5 minutes, I think we will spend on the rapid fire thing. So this question is, I think, to Dipali, you. Do you foresee wages to go up in the next 6-7 months or in near future?
Stagnant.
Stagnant, okay. Siddharth, when do you see the situation that we were in as on 31st of December 2019? How long will it take for us to be like that?
Next March.
March 2021?
I hope so. I'm positive. Yeah.
Rajendra, your views?
Much earlier than that.
Much earlier than that. Okay. Okay. That's a great contradiction. That's a great contradiction. Mr. Banerjee, a situation like we were as on 31st of December 2019. How long it will take for us to be in that situation?
Do you pay $1 million to me to answer this?
No, it's,
you don't. So
India wants to know.
I'll keep my comments reserved and see when it comes back.
Okay. What do you, Dipali, what do you say?
Again, two aspects about.
No, it's a rapid question. Yeah, it's a timeline.
For rapid, I think personally, at personal lives, it should be back in the first financial quarter of the next financial year. So anywhere between March, April, May.
Sure. Okay, what percentage of temp jobs should go up in the coming say a year or so, or maybe a couple of years for down the line? Siddharth, your views. The increase in temp jobs.
10% to 15% because of digitalization coming into place. It will come up. We don't name this temp work. We should say now the concept of gig worker is also coming up. So people at levels also doing temp work. I'm doing a temp work. I don't mind. You can fire me. You can hire me. I'll change my boss.
Sure. Rajendra, your views.
I think this is this would be a difficult question to answer because everybody is so careful about hiring. So even if there is a need in the market, people are not going to hire people so easily in the future.
Mm-hmm. So you foresee it's a different thing. Okay. What about Dipali?
For the hiring bit, I think not more than 2 to 3%.
Okay. And Shantanu, your views?
I see it in two aspects. One is the people who have lost their job during this period. That is one chunk. And new hiring. So I think that around 80% or maybe 90% people will get back to work, those who have lost their job. But as a new hiring is concerned, I think it's going to be less than 10% in the industry.
I think our question was, do you foresee that the temp jobs or the contractual jobs or the gig jobs that Siddharth renamed it, I mean, would increase in the next 1 year's time? And if so, by what percentage?
Yeah, that is, a lot of people have lost their temporary jobs. So
Sure.
I'm talking about that in one side, that is 80 to 90% will get back those jobs. But new hiring for a fresh thing will restrict to approximately 10% or so in our industry.
Sure. Fantastic. So I think just to kind of sum it up before we wrap up, it has been a fantastic discussion. As I said at the beginning itself, that we have a diversified set of panelists coming from the new age and the kind of a traditional industry, as well as what you call as the transformation into smart industry, and somebody who kind of represents the HRD India and have got their views. So it was fantastic to have you all. I'm sure the viewers have got their questions answered. We had participation from both the genders. Dipali, you are a great personality. People definitely would look forward to hear you more in the coming days, and so is Rajendra, Siddharth, and Shantanu as well. Of course, we have also addressed two kind of queries that came from specific a set of people from specific industries, in terms of the fact that what's going to be the change in the auto industry, what's going to be happening in the mining industry, and of course the adjacent industries. Deliberately, I think mining and adjacent industries, we had a lot of questions because this sector employs a lot of people in the bottom pyramid as well, right? So there has been turbulent times and kind of things. So it was fantastic to have you all. Thanks for joining the webinar, and we should be looking forward to have your participation in the future events as well. Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, Dipali. Thank you, Shantanu. And thank you, Rajendra.
Thank you.
Thank you.